Hi, this is Laura from Purple Phoenix Games, and we are here with Ben of Upsize Fun to talk about their newest game coming to Kickstarter. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and your company.
Sure, yeah. First, Laura, thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
absolutely.
Um, my name is Ben, and I have a tiny company, startup company, where we're going to be publishing our first game called Hydro Soakers. Um, this is probably backwards, I think. I don't know if it's
No,
flipped.
it looks
Okay.
it looks good.
Um, yeah, so this is a design that I've been working on for probably like 4 years or so. And I kind of got to a point where, hey, I want to try to get this out to more people, more families, and see if we can do this. So myself, with the support of my family, we're just jumping in the deep end and asking for people's help to get this thing published. Like I said, it's me, my wife, and we just had a 1-year-old. So a new addition to the company. And
Yeah.
yeah, so that's where we're at. And at this moment right now, we're going to be launching on Kickstarter on April 5th to get this game produced. It's all designed and the development is complete, and that's what we're kind of here to spread the word of Hydro Soakers
Awesome.
and what we're bringing to the table.
Yeah, excellent. So why don't you go ahead and tell me a little bit about Hydro Soakers? Like, what's the theme? The main gameplay. How does
Sure.
Hydro Soakers work?
So yeah, it's definitely geared towards families. It's like that lighter weight game.
Mhm.
One of the things, like I'm fairly new to the hobby as well, so but I've been playing games like there's the older games, Monopolies and all that kind of stuff
Mhm. Yeah.
for when I was a kid. But it's a family weight game. I'm not real big on the real heavy stuff, so I wanted to.
Yeah.
The real appeal for me is having the family together at like the dinner table or whatever, and
Mhm.
enjoying a game that they can kind of wrap their head around. So
Yeah.
with Hydro Soakers, we kind of went with I grew up in the 90s, and I kind of went with that 90s Nickelodeon feel for the
Mhm.
game.
Yeah.
And I should probably say it's a water gun fight to start, because that's the main gist of it, if you didn't get it
Mhm.
by the title. Um, but yeah, basically it's a 2 to 4 player game, and it'll be split into 2 teams, and you're just going to be competing to eliminate the other team um, by soaking them with water, um,
Mhm.
and that's the main objective of the game. But it comes down to some simple like dice rolls. We have some fun custom dice that are in it,
Oh,
chunky
nice.
dice, um, kind of like your King of Tokyo size dice. So it's got a
Mhm.
real nice tactile feel. Kids can really grab those dice, have some fun rolling them.
Mhm.
But then there's some extra tactical decisions for any like the maybe like heavier gamers
Mhm.
that want to enjoy this with their kids or some non-gamers. But
Yeah.
that's what we're really focused on is the simplicity in the rules and the teachability, and just I want people to open this box and then maybe in 20 minutes they got the hang of it. It's
Yeah.
super. But that's our main goal is streamline and
Mhm.
family accessibility.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know one of my other Purple Phoenix guys, Travis, he has two young kids, a 5-year old and a 3-year old, and he's always looking for games that he can play with them and introducing them to some of these more family friendly games. So I definitely see this as something that he can play with his kids and that they totally will like eat up the theme, that they'll
Oh
love it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this is like I poured like my childhood into this game. I
Hmm.
mean, there's like you know, there's basically there's buffet tables that are placed out onto the board,
Hmm.
and then on these tables there's like all these snack items. We got like pizza,
Oh, cool.
the gooey pizza. The
Hmm.
we got let's see, we got like a little can of
nice.
cola. There's the old like ice cream pops from like the ice cream man and stuff.
Yeah, those
you can go around and those give you like, for the gamer, they go and provide you boosts to like your abilities. So you can really go in depth and kind of create a character that you want to create in that way. But for a kid, I just want to run up and get some pizza or whatever. So that's that balance that we want to kind of shoot for.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So how do you win the game? By just like soaking your opponent the most?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
So each character has this is like your character dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
This side here holds all the water that you have available to fire with, that is in your gun. Mm-hmm. And then this section here shows all the hits that you receive. Okay. So whenever you fire your gun, any hits that you roll, which are, where are we here? These little splats.
Mm-hmm.
If you roll those, that's how many hits you land on the character.
Oh, nice.
So whenever they collect 6, that character is eliminated. Mm-hmm. And then you continue until all 3 of your characters are eliminated. And there's 3 per team.
Okay, nice.
And that's how you win.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, that sounds super fun. And just like leading up to this interview, I just was thinking back to all my like childhood water gun fights and all that stuff. And it's really awesome. So the nostalgia factor is huge. And I'm just excited to get a chance to play this game too and follow the campaign on Kickstarter. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
That means a lot. Yeah, we have a lot of fun with the Kickstarter. It's been so much work, but I think once people like see, hopefully, the passion and all that translates into the Kickstarter, and it's just like that's like been the hardest part for me lately. So, and that's one of the reasons why I reached out. And again, I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely. How has the road to Kickstarter been as like a first-time publisher and like a new publisher? Like I guess I really don't know how the process works. So how has it been learning that whole thing?
It's chaos. It's man, I thought like designing the game was the worst part. Actually, designing was bad at the time, and then after that it was the rule book. The rule book was a pain. But honestly, like selling your game and getting the word out has been like the most challenging part. Mm-hmm. And then like with the Kickstarter, I looked into some other outlets to gain funding. But Kickstarter, I just kept coming back to because I've seen the success of it. I've seen how Kickstarter, being on Kickstarter itself, kind of promotes your game as well.
Yeah.
So it's been hard to create the content that you want to put onto the Kickstarter page. Mm-hmm. It was super challenging. I do all the art and stuff in the game as well. So
cool.
To get that, I have to make all this new art that won't even be in the game that I just for the Kickstarter page.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot, and to try to compete with some of those bigger Kickstarters has just been it's been stressful for sure. But I get to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm focused on this, and this is we're just going to focus on us and not everybody else. That might be a downfall for some people if you start comparing with some of the bigger Kickstarters in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, and I know I like perusing through Kickstarter and finding all these games and things that I never would have found otherwise. So even though there are, those bigger companies going to Kickstarter, I think it's fun to just see everything that's out there, so that's one of the coolest parts about it.
Yeah, I agree. And I love seeing first time creators, and like
Hmm.
there's people who are just like there's passion projects and are like just like me who are just trying to make something and get it out to people to see.
Yeah.
There's something to say about like people enjoying something you've created.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And you mentioned how like the design process was really hard. Like how did you even get started on designing this game?
Gosh, like I said, it was like 4 years, I think 4 or 5 years ago, probably. I've had
Hmm.
this thing going. I don't, I don't know what the start of it, what the exact starting point, but
Hmm.
I always knew I wanted to maybe encapsulate my a little bit of my childhood and
Hmm.
maybe relive it a little bit. So
Yeah.
that's where I started thinking of, you know, the the teals and the purples and the oranges and all that
Hmm.
stuff. Um, and then I started thinking about maybe like the 90s Nickelodeon. I saw like the splats and all that stuff. And,
Hmm.
our cards have that kind of 90s motif.
Oh yeah.
So I thought of that kind of aesthetic. And I was
Hmm.
like, okay, what would like fit in this? And then I don't know. I guess I just had an epiphany or something. And
Hmm.
I was like, there's no like water gun game. There's a lot of like, you know, shooting games and,
Hmm.
you know, actually like killing and stuff. But
Yeah.
um, I wanted with that 90s theme, I didn't think that would fit real well. So I was like,
Yeah.
water guns, that's a tactical game, a skirmish type game. And that's just where it developed. And
Yeah.
something really cool that I like is we almost have like a resource management kind of in there with the water.
Hmm.
So obviously, as you fire your water gun, I call it a hydro pack,
Hmm.
um, will empty out, and you'll be stuck with an empty hydro pack. So you have to
Hmm.
go and fill it up again. So you have
Yeah.
to manage your resources. Because if you fire with, let's say you fire with like a ton of dice, and you only have one water, which is represented by a cube, which will be different in the Kickstarter, but they're just
Hmm.
these little blue cubes.
Oh yeah.
Um, if you land 5 hits, but you only have one water, you only land one hit.
Yeah.
So there's some management in there that, again, I
Hmm.
think appeal to some of the heavier gamers, maybe. And
Yeah.
but as far as coming up with the design and all that, that came about just from thinking about water guns, and that
Hmm.
kind of mechanic came in there. So
Yeah.
real happy about that.
Yeah, that's really cool. And the whole like family focused vibe too with the water guns, and that's just something fun that kids do and
Yep.
families do, and it's not focused on like actual violence and stuff like that,
Right.
to get those families in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you very much. And like with the snacks and all that and the buffet tables, it's like, you're just having a party, and like
Hmm.
it's not, if you lose, you
Yeah.
lose. I mean, there's
Yeah.
enough. The game is a little swingy, but there's like, um, we have a rule. Once you have one, if you have less characters than the other team, you get
Hmm.
this little underdog rule
Oh,
where
nice.
you get a little bit of help to come back.
Hmm.
So um, you're not out if you have one character versus three.
Yeah.
Anything can happen, and that's what I
Yeah.
like about this.
Hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. And I like thinking about, like, I remember when playing like water gun fights when I was a kid, you're so locked into like your strategy and your tactics, and it's like even though you really don't know anything, so adding that to like the game, it's like, oh yeah, this is, you're really playing through
Yeah,
what you would do in these water gun fights.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, and we do have like these fun little ball pits that
Oh,
you can
nice.
jump into these thematically, and
Hmm.
you gain a little bit of defense against
Oh,
attacks.
that's awesome.
Um, and that's all. These guys, you can just make your own board or like
Hmm.
arena kind of. So there's a lot of freedom in the setup as well.
Yeah,
So you just have some fun creating your own little arenas as well.
that's awesome. So starting up this like publishing company, I know it's still like pretty small. Like, what finally pushed you to decide, okay, this is gonna be a thing now?
That's another great question. Uh, I should really start like writing down the starting points and what maybe I have no idea. Like this, like it could be just like the sun shining in a certain way that causes me to do something.
Yeah.
And like the main thing was like I knew I had a pretty good game here, I thought. And I've play tested and all that, and I've got some feedback, and we've made some changes, and I think we have a really good product here. And like I said, I love. There's nothing like seeing other people enjoy something you created, especially with like a family. When you see like like a kid who that like look of discovery and like enjoy something.
Yeah.
That's the goal here. It's not like anything else. That's the goal. So I decided let's do it. I mean, I pitched it to a couple big companies, but that's I like the process that we went through. It was like a real it was a quick almost like a I don't know what there's like blind date kind of like speed dating type things, and I just didn't like it because it's just like, okay, I can't. Again, the hardest part for me to do is sell the game. So it's like I definitely can't sell it in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
As somebody who has like that gift, the gab, maybe can do that, but that's been difficult for me. But so I decided I'm just going to do it my way at my pace, and we're at a point where we can actually like launch like a Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's awesome. So do you have any other games you're working on, or is like Hydro Soakers your one focus right now?
Yeah, I have a couple games like I'm working on. But this is the one that has gotten the farthest and is ready to go. But
awesome.
I do have some other ones. I have one that's like a medieval jousting game, again in the same vein as like the simple rules and family oriented. I wanted to make like sort of like if kids from that time period, medieval time period, went to a jousting tournament, maybe their father or somebody they knew or the blacksmith or whoever made them this little game that like fits in a pouch and is like kind of recreates a jousting
cool
thing. So that's like my goal is to like make it look like that and keep those rules like simple and maybe kind of in this again in the same vein as maybe like a chess or something like that.
Yeah.
Kids at the time would have played with. So that's the other one that's probably like furthest along as well. So
nice.
I do always have designs.
Yeah. It's just deciding like which one to work on now and like what to tweak here and what to change over here, and that's cool.
Yeah, and like that with that, like you never know when inspiration hits you. It might hit you and then you jump on another old design, or it might hit you and start a new design. So it's just like it's tough.
Yeah, I have not tried designing anything. I've thought about like, oh, I should try designing a game. And then I think about how hard it actually is. And I'm like, I don't know if I am creative enough to come up with a new game. So I applaud you and your ability to design games.
Oh, thank you. But
yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't sell yourself short, because if you saw like the first iteration of like even Hydro Soakers, you would think that of me. Like this guy cannot design games or whatever. But it's all like iterations and adding on and just do it. So I don't think anyone just comes out the gate and is like, oh, boom, 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 here's a game, it's awesome. It's always like, wow, this is garbage. What can I change to make it less garbage? Okay, now it's a game almost, and that you just keep kind of going. So yeah, I would not sell yourself short. I think you could probably do some good, and it's fun.
Okay.
It's fun. I like to it exercises your brain and problem solving, and it's just it's a nice exercise, mental exercise.
Yeah, and that's cool to be able to challenge yourself to do that, and to always be looking for improvements for your designs. But yeah, is there anything else like Hydro Soakers specific you want to talk about? You said you're launching in April 5th, right?
Yeah. So like almost 30 days out, a month out.
Oh yeah.
So the game, like the game's done, it's like complete. So I've noticed a lot of Kickstarters, they launched their Kickstarter and then there's still development that needs to be done. With us, it's like, okay, we're basically asking for funding for the manufacturing.
Yeah.
That's it. Luckily, I saved some costs on the art side and all that kind of stuff. So if we fund, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
It's going right to the manufacturer, and we're hitting the ground running.
Oh,
so
awesome.
I think that's an advantage for us. We do have cool acrylic standees.
Yeah, those look so cool.
Really cool. There was at one point we were thinking about making the whole game waterproof, but the cost would be insane. On this level. If we were up here, maybe we could think about it. We were going to have the game board like that pool toy vinyl kind of material.
Oh yeah.
Well, the acrylics are waterproof. I've tested that before, but those are just the things that when I'm doing the Kickstarter, I'm like, where can we go? Okay, I gotta stop and let's do stuff that's feasible. But it's always fun to just kind of think about that.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at. We're just asking for people's help with this one, and
that's awesome.
The only thing I can promise you is I'm going to do my best to make sure that your investment pays off. You're going to get an awesome game, and that you can have fun with this. And I promise I'll try my best, and I'll do the best that I can.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at with Hydro Soakers.
No, that's awesome. And it's cool that you decided, hey, it's time, we're going to do this, and you're putting in all the work to get your game out there. And yeah, it seems like a cool game. And I love the retro vibe of it. And I didn't even realize that you had done the art for it, but it really fits in with the theme. And yeah, I dig it.
Thank you so much. Yeah. That means a lot that translates, because you sit there and you do the art and you're like, okay, this feels good to me in my head, but I don't know how other people see that time, and is this retro to some people, is this ancient to other people? But I always thought it was just a fun style and fun colors that you don't really see too much in games. And thank you. I'm just glad that was conveyed and other people see that as well.
Yeah, and I think I had seen one of your Twitter posts or something, and with some of the artwork or the game board, and that was what kind of drew me in, the colors and the whole vibe of the game. I'm like, oh, this is like childhood. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and if this does that for some child out there and some family out there, and they think back, oh, we played remember that game Hydro Soakers we played? back, I played that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I played that with my dad and my mom and whatever. And it's
Yeah.
like, again, that's the goal. That's what I'm
Mhm.
shooting for.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And maybe one day you will be able to make a waterproof copy.
Oh yeah, that would be
Make
amazing.
like
That would be
a
amazing.
second edition that's
Yeah.
waterproof.
If this does well, I mean, if this does really well, then I'll consider it. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be amazing.
Mhm.
I don't know. It,
Yeah, that would be super cool.
yeah, I don't think there's any waterproof game out there. Maybe Twister.
I, oh yeah, I guess that technically could be.
That'd be hard to play on like water though.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You could have the first waterproof game.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
All right, we're gonna do it.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what would be like what would be the best way that people can get in touch with you?
Yeah, sure. Honestly, like Twitter and Instagram are like the best way.
Okay.
Um, I've made like so many connections. I don't like the social media stuff, but there is some good that comes out of it because I've
Mhm.
made so many connections and I've met so many great people who've helped me get the word out.
Mhm.
I met my, I didn't meet him in person, but we connected on social media. Um, I got my like rules editor,
Oh, nice.
rule book editor on there.
Mhm.
I have a, did you happen to see the commercial that we had? We have this really cool
I think I
commercial.
saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. We have this really cool commercial that Bernardo from Tabletop Island made for us, which is like, I don't, I don't know how he captured like this, the style and the mood and the everything, but
Mhm.
it's like perfect. Um,
Yeah.
I reached out to him on social media, and it's like social media is the best thing for I
Mhm.
think small companies and small publishers.
Yeah.
We do have a website, upsizefun.com. I don't even know if I mentioned the name of the company, but it is Upsize Fun. Uh, you'll see the giant whale. But that kind of came about just like we just wanted to make fun games and we just wanted to
Mhm.
take it to another level. And
Yeah.
that's where we're at with that.
Yeah,
Um,
that's cool.
yeah, so upsizefun.com and then social media at upsizefun, Instagram and Twitter. That's the best way. And feel free to reach out anytime, anyone. If you just want to chat or whatever, talk about how your day was, that's fine too. I'm always on there. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Awesome. So yeah, we will definitely put like the website and your social media stuff and like the description for the video
yeah,
and get that out there too. Um, but yeah, awesome. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me today about hydro soakers and just getting started with your company and the design process and hopefully fingers crossed that the Kickstarter goes well. I'm
yeah.
excited for it to launch. So yeah, we're basically about a month out now.
Yep, yeah, we are.
Yeah, you're definitely not stressed at all.
No, no, not at all. Not at all. I tried
Yeah.
to comb over the hair to kind of get it to cover those patches of gray.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, no stress at all. But
Mhm.
yeah, these 30 days, we're just kind of getting the word out. And if anyone wants to reach out and want to ask maybe how they can help out,
Mhm.
just sharing one of our posts or, just telling your friends it goes a long way.
Yeah.
Oh, we do have the Kickstarter launch page is up. Um, you can get
Oh, yeah.
notified. You can get
Mhm.
notified of the launch.
Yes.
That eases the stress for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, just by clicking on that, if we can hit the ground running with like a
Mhm.
bunch of people who are interested, then that's
Mhm.
helps ease the stress. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah,
Awesome. But yeah, thanks for taking the time to talk to me, and we will follow up, once the campaign gets started, and I'll be
Yeah,
following it for sure. And I'm excited to see what happens and like where Upsize Fun is able to go.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's been a blast just talking with you. So
Yeah,
thank you
for
so much.
sure. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
See ya.